The reading is from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Let us be attentive.
Glory to you, Lord. Glory to you.
The Lord said, "If any man wants to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his life? For what can a man give in return for his life? For whoever is ashamed of me and of my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him will the Son of Man also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels." And he said to them, "Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the kingdom of God has come with power."
Peace be unto you who proclaim the good news of the gospel. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. Good morning, everyone. Kalimerasas. The range of topics that pass through the office of a parish priest are diverse. Think about it for a moment. If you haven't ever been exposed to it before, you might think that on any given week throughout the year, the topics that come through a priest's office are the sort of greatest hits. Oh, we're getting ready to get married. Father, what do we have to do? We have a baptism coming. How do we plan for it? What are we going to do for the Sunday school kids for the graduation this year? And those are the happy things. But it's definitely not limited to that. Through the office of any parish priest, this wide and diverse range of topics come through, and more often than not, they're not those celebratory topics that we want to idealize and think about. How are we going to celebrate? How are we going to bring more people to Jesus Christ knowingly on the surface level? But rather, what comes through the office of the priest is typically pain, confusion, ego. Typically, what comes through the office of the parish priest are people who are hurting, whether they realize it or not. People are hurting as individuals, trying to find their identity. People are hurting within their marriages, trying to figure out, why am I still in this thing? People are hurting as they're striving to raise their kids in a world that has absolutely gone bonkers. People are struggling, trying to figure out, how is it that I honor my mother and my father when they're driving me crazy? People are struggling when something happens at work. People are struggling, because you live in the real world the same way that I do. Life's tough. Life beats us up. Anybody who doesn't feel it has either been living off of a trust fund since they were in their mother's womb, in a bubble somewhere, or they have the blessing of extreme ignorance. Life's tough. And more often than not, when people eventually get to the point where they realize that life's tough and that they are searching for somewhere to find some help, they end up in the office of the parish priest. Sometimes after they had sought out some comfort and vices. And the question is always, how do we make it better? How do I fix this? How do I fix my life? How do I fix my marriage? How do I fix my kids? How do I fix my in-laws? How do I fix the situation at work? How do I fix what's being taught to my kids in school? How do I fix fill in the blank? Especially over these last 2 to 3 years, I feel safe in assuming that every single one of us inside of the church has gone through that. And in today's gospel reading, we hear the answer. But in order for us to be able to hear that answer, we have to understand something. Number one, we're not going to fix anything. We don't get fixed. Marriages, they don't get fixed either. Raising kids, yeah, there's no quick fix for that. In-laws, no. There's no fix for these things. But what can take place is healing. And so we have to understand that what it is that we're looking for isn't a fix. I know we all want the fix because we like fast food. We like quick, immediate results. But that's not life. Life is found in the daily grind, and we find healing in the daily grind. Healing is what we need to look for as individuals. Healing is what we have to seek in our marriages and in our efforts to rear children. Healing is what we need to look for in our places of work and in our schools and in our society. Healing is what it is that we have to be focused at. And if we understand that first and foremost, then all of a sudden we begin looking to different places for the answers. You're not going to find healing at the bottom of a bottle. You're not going to find healing in prescription drugs. You're not going to find healing in any other type of drugs. You're not going to find healing in an affair. You're not going to find healing when you tell off your in-laws. You're not going to find healing when you walk in and proclaim your righteousness and quit your job. Healing doesn't take place these ways. Healing takes place one and one way only, and that is when we invite Jesus Christ into the equation. Christ needs to be the center of our individual lives, and we need to be focused at joining ourselves to Him. And when we join ourselves to Him, we start experiencing healing. Healing that is substantive, it's authentic, it's impactful, and it provides a foundation in our lives that we can stand in spite of the storms of life. When we join our marriages to Jesus Christ, healing takes place. It doesn't mean you're never going to have a fight with your husband or your wife ever again. Anybody that tells you that is trying to sell you something. But when your marriage is joined to Jesus Christ, you'll have a foundation to stand on so that when you have those disagreements, you'll be able to move through them. If your parenting is joined to Jesus Christ, it doesn't mean your kids are going to perfectly behave. It doesn't mean you're going to have all the answers. But it does mean that as you rear them, it'll be an experience that engulfs them with true agape love, which is what children actually need. The same thing carries over into our places of work, into our schools, on our sports teams, and everywhere else in society. We have to be focused on not only following, but joining ourselves to Jesus Christ in all of these aspects of our life. Now we get to today's gospel reading, where the answer lies. It's very easy to say, yep, I heard the priest say, join myself, join my marriage, join my parenting, join my professional life to Jesus Christ. That all sounds great, and it'll keep you on a high until Monday at about 9:15 after you've had your first interaction with somebody. You see, it takes actual action items, steps, in order to do it. Wearing a little jelly bracelet that says, I follow Jesus, isn't going to get it done. And in today's gospel reading, we have the answer. Christ himself says, if anyone wants to follow after me, deny themselves, take up their cross, and do so, and follow me. And so these action items, these steps that you and I have to commit to, if we want to be better individuals, if we want to be in better marriages, raise better kids, so on and so forth, is that we have to deny ourselves. We have to put away our own agenda and replace it with the agenda of Jesus Christ. We have to put away our own ego, and allow that big gaping void to be filled with the love of Jesus Christ. We have to put away our will and replace it with the will of God. St. Athanasius the Great said, in order for God to increase, I must decrease. And so when we deny ourselves, what we're doing is we're saying, God knows better than I do. That's going to be my compass. He will be my compass. And then we have to pick up our cross and follow him. Now, this is radically misunderstood. Picking up your cross doesn't mean dealing with hardships in life. Picking up your cross means the exact same thing that Jesus Christ first said in his public ministry and that St. John the Baptist first said in his ministry, and it's written on that scroll. We have to repent. We have to change. You have to put in the work to actually change, not just think about it, not just ponder. As individuals, we have to look at all of the areas of our lives where we have degrees of separation from Jesus Christ, where we're not living the way that he's told us to live. And we have to make changes in our life so that we can close that gap to the point where there is no gap. In our marriages, we have to do the same thing. How we raise our kids, we have to do the same thing. How we interact at work and in our schools and on our sports teams and in our social networks. How we hold public servants accountable. Wherever there's a gap, put in the work to transform it. Close the gap until there is none. But that's hard. It's difficult. We don't like to change. I've been telling myself for the last 20 years that I'm going to get back into the gym on a consistent basis. Yeah, that's worked out really well. We don't like to change. We like the easy way out. I don't want to wake up 20 minutes earlier and make myself a nice healthy lunch that's going to be good for my system. I want to drive through the fast food drive-thru at Taco Bell. I want it quick. I want it now. But we have to put that away. We have to put that mentality away because what it leads to is what we have in the world now. Brokenness. A brokenness that not only is going unaddressed, but unfortunately, the evil in the world is masking and telling us all that it's actually good. There's a prevalent darkness that exists today that has convinced so many of us that if you actually are joined to Jesus Christ, that you're the bad guy. And in order to really be a good guy, morality has to go out the window. Anything goes. Up is now down. Left is now right. Good is bad. And evil is acceptance. Let's start with ourselves. And then move into our marriages or in our seeking of a marriage. And then into how we're raising our children. And then into those other categories that I spoke of, our professional life, our social settings, our schools, so on and so forth. Let's start by holding ourselves accountable to the standard of the gospel. Let's deny ourselves. Let's take up our cross and let's change because the world needs it. We must be unafraid in this faithless and perverse generation that we live in. And trust you me, there are more of us than there are of them who want to do the right thing. The problem is, is that we've been afraid. No more fear. Denial of the self, take up our cross, change, and join ourselves to Jesus Christ. That's what we're doing now in the Divine Liturgy. And after the culmination from receiving Holy Communion, let's head into this week with a renewed sense of strength, conviction, and purpose so that we can change the world. Amen. Good morning, everyone. Kalimera. Before a couple of quick announcements, as we know, we've been blessed here at St. Basil's that we have a long-running tradition of having scholarships. And our more legacy scholarships, both the Stathaki and the Liddell scholarships, are always awarded at the end of the academic year. We do so in May when we close out the Sunday school year. But now this is the second year running that we have another scholarship that's offered here, specifically to our altar boys. The Greg Dimitrios Scholarship that's offered by both his wife and daughter. And I'd like to recognize and thank Mary and Kathy once again for doing this. Where are they? I don't see them. There. I'm getting old. The eyes are going. And this is a scholarship that's offered at a different time of the year. This time of the year. Why? Because as a church, we respond to the needs of the people. If anyone has had a kid apply for college lately, you realize that it's a lot different than it was when I applied, or perhaps when some of you applied for college. I remember applying and there was no fee, or if there was maybe a $25 nicety fee associated with it. Now, these colleges, they make big bucks off of applications. It costs a lot of money. And so in response, this scholarship is being offered to our altar servers this time of the year to help and assist them and support them as they are putting forth their college applications. And so, with this being said, I would like to recognize not only the scholarship as we have, but also our first and second place winners for this year's Greg Dimitrios Acolyte Scholarship at St. Basil's. Our second place recipient this year is Mr. Kyriakos Leptos. Kyriakos Leptos. And Kyriakos is unable to be with us. He's not here in church today, but we'll make sure that he gets soon. And our first place award winner of the Greg Dimitrios Scholarship Award this year is Mr. Leo Caramano. Leo, please come out. Come on out. Congratulations. Congratulations. God bless. How wonderful it is. It has always been, since the apostolic time, a focus of the church to either be the entity offering or support the entities that offer education, real education. And that's something that we continue and maintain here at St. Basil's, not only with our education programs, but also through our scholarship programs. Once again, I'd like to thank the Dimitrios family. What a blessing it is that you provide to our young people. And congratulations, Leo, this year. God bless you. As we know, today was our first day of our YEP classes, our youth education classes. And as you also know, over the last couple of years, we did one thing a little bit different in terms of where the kids sit inside of the church. I know that many of us have it built into our minds that when there's Sunday school class, the kids should all be sitting in the row with their class, right? Kindergarten, preschool in the front row, and first and second grade in the second, and so on and so forth. But I'll tell you what, I don't like that. I don't like it as a priest. I definitely don't like it as a parent. And this is the reason why. The first catechism is the Divine Liturgy itself. And there is no powerful experience of the Divine Liturgy than when we approach the liturgy with the fear of God, faith, and love together with our family. Kids need to be seated together with their parents. They need to be with their siblings, older or younger. And if that means that we're not quite as streamlined when we come up to receive Holy Communion, so be it. I would rather have an experience of children worshiping every Sunday with their mom, dad, and siblings, and have it be a little sloppier when they are on their way over to Sunday school than to have everybody marching in quick order and we save 3 minutes. We'll save 3 minutes by speeding up the hymns, not by making the kids be segmented and act like junior soldiers and never have the experience from their preschool years all the way through high school praying with their family in church. It's an asinine idea. But we've come a long way. We've come a long way. When I was growing up, Sunday school used to take place during the Divine Liturgy. Kids weren't even allowed in, which is the reason why I'm a Sunday school dropout. First grade. I wanted to be in the liturgy. So we've come a long way. We've come a long way, but we're going to continue to move forward. And I ask for everyone's, not patience, I ask for everyone's love, especially when we're moving forward to receive Holy Communion. We have 3 chalices typically on Sundays. We move through at a decent pace. And know that when you see a kid coming across the pew or coming up, or if it seems a little discombobulated at times, know that that's a manifestation of a family worshiping together in church. It's a lot more valuable than the extra 90 seconds that you're looking for. Okay? So, keep that one in mind. With that being said, I ask everyone to please come forward to receive Andidaron at this time and go about your week in peace. May the grace and the love of Jesus Christ be with you this day and always.